Today we're looking at Andy Timmons tones on the Fractal Audio FM3. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we talk about riffs, tones, and gear. So who is Andy Timmons? Andy is an American guitarist originally from Evansville, Indiana. Growing up, Andy wanted to be a session player, and so he studied jazz guitar at the University of Miami, following in the footsteps of other famous alumni such as Steve Morse, Pat Metheny, and Jaco Pastorius. After his Florida stint, Andy moved to Dallas where he worked as a session musician in the 80s and started his own band called the Andy Timmons Band. While in Dallas, Andy was recruited by the glam metal band Danger Danger. Danger Danger had 2 #1 videos on MTV, which in the 80s was a pretty big deal. After Danger Danger, try saying that fast twice, Andy went on to gigs as the guitarist for Olivia Newton-John, Kip Winger, Simon Phillips, and others. Nowadays, Andy's back to doing his own thing, fronting the Andy Timmons Band that tours worldwide. The gear. If you poke around on YouTube, you'll quickly discover that Andy keeps no secrets when it comes to his gear. He's a longtime Mesa Boogie player, he uses a Strymon Timeline, his Carl Martin signature compressor, a Boss Blues driver with the Keeley mod, and his JHS AT Overdrive is part of his core tones. So today I thought I'd put the pieces together as best as I could using my Fractal Audio FM3 and see what we get. The goal is to get close because clearly I'm not Andy Timmons, and 2, I don't own a Strat. Alright, to the monitor. Let's get to building some tones. Building the tone. Let's start with the amp. Andy uses a Mesa Boogie Lone Star head, and so we'll pick the Texas Star Clean. As you can see from these shots, his amp settings tend to vary from gig to gig. Andy's amp settings are usually everything somewhere around noon, except for the bass, which he tends to turn down. And last but not least, the tubes. Andy uses EL34s instead of 6L6s for his tone, and so we'll swap out the tubes. For the speakers, Andy uses Mesa Boogie 212 Recto cabs with vintage 30s. There's no Mesa Boogie 212 Recto cab with V30s in the FM3, and so I chose the Recto 4x12. What's a couple more speakers between friends? Overall, the basic signal chain is as follows. For the clean tone, he uses the Carl Martin signature compressor. We'll use the analog compressor on the FM3, set like so. For his mid-gain tone, he uses the Boss Blues driver. We've got one of those, so we'll use that. The settings look like so. And for his lead tone, he uses the JHS AT. We'll go with a box of rocks. More on that later. Here are the settings. For his secret sauce, Andy runs his timeline delay through the Lone Star effects loop, and so that's where we'll put ours. We'll use the dual delay since that's the setting Andy uses on the timeline. The settings look something like so. Andy also adds some chorus to his delay, and so here are the modulation settings. Alright, it's tone time. For the tone samples, I'm going to focus on Andy's 3 core tones, clean, mid-gain, and lead. For all the tone samples today, I'm throwing in the secret sauce, which in Andy Timmons' world is the Strymon Timeline delay, which is a big part of his signature sound. First up is the clean tone, which is basically some light compression with a clean boost hitting the front end of the amp. It sounds like this. Next up is the mid-gain tone, where Andy uses a Boss Blues driver to push the front end of his Mesa Lone Star. it sounds something like this. And last up, the lead tone. For this one, we're going to be using the Boxel Crunch drive, which is an emulation of the MI Audio Crunchbox. I've read online that the JHS Angry Charlie, which is what inspired the AT Overdrive, was based on the MI Audio Crunchbox, which is why I chose it for the drive. I could be right, I could be wrong, who knows? Here's a lead sound. Alright, song time. Now that we've got all the tones covered, let's put them all together into a quick song. I hope you enjoyed the tones. If you haven't checked out Andy Timmons before, I highly encourage you to do so. Alright, that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Rocks out. Alright, let's give it one more, little more. That's the dance.